Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert. I co-host the Kanye West podcast, Watching the Throne, and then also make these YouTube videos giving updates about Kanye happenings in the world. So today I wanted to talk briefly in the wake of Sunday Service at Coachella, briefly, uh, about Kanye crying. And it's one of the iconic moments already from this performance is that after performing the song Water, which as Kanye described it was a new joint, and in the middle of this Coachella performance, I think at this point they were 20 some songs into what would be like a 25, 26, 27 song set. And Kanye just breaks down at like before Ultralight Beam starts playing or right in that midst, and he's crying and the tears are flowing. There's this other picture where he has his hand over his face. I'd show you the video, but we got a strike for doing a video on Shoot Up, the song that might be on Yandi. So no risks with video content at the moment, but photos can do photos. But there'll be a link to the video down below if you haven't seen it yet. But I hope you've already caught it. So there are a number of reasons why Kanye might have been crying at this event. One, just the enormity of it. Like you look at this photo and Kanye had to put together what the setting was going to be, like all of this stuff going on. They built this hill, this whole hill that they're standing on was built. They brought in the dirt, they brought in the grass, like none of that was there. And then he has all those people in the first circle around them, then all the other people in the second circle. There's a ton of dancers, the choir, other musicians. There was a brass band. Like it was an enormous undertaking. So to see all of that coming off as well as it did with the gigantic crowd that was there, there's just something to say in the moment why somebody would start crying, especially with just kind of the beauty of everything that was going on and Kanye feeling, I don't know, caught up in it. I know there were a number of Kanye fans that as it was going on were just also crying just because of the vibe and the energy. But there was also something I thought more could be going on as well. Just this echoes in a lot of ways Kanye's 2019 performance, what happened leading up to Kanye's 2011 Coachella performance, which was his first major headlining gig at Coachella. He had performed on the stage in 2006, but the 2011 show was a big deal for other reasons. One, just the years leading up to it. You look at, in 2007, his mom passed, and then a year later, he released 808s and Heartbreak. And while now we all look at 808s and think, wow, what a amazing album that changed the landscape of music. This is fantastic. When it came out, there were legitimately critics and like a number of people who thought it was the end of Kanye's career. That this rapper trying to sing on an album was the most absurd thing in the world. Where were the bars? Where were the clever lines? Like, what's this energy? What's this dude doing? Like, this is the guy that beat, like, Fitty Head Up? Like, no. And while the singles Love Lockdown and Heartless did really well, that's not always an indication of how people are feeling about an album, right? I hate making this comparison because it seems just dirty to compare Kanye to Michael Bay. But you could look at it the way Michael Bay made all these Transformer movies and they made all this money, but nobody was necessarily happy with the actual content or portrayal of the Transformers or anything that Bay was doing with that. Please never make a Transformers movie again, Michael Bay. But a lot of people felt that way about 808s as a rap album and hip hop, just because it was so outside of what people expected from not just Kanye, but from artists in that day and age in the mainstream. That kind of music wasn't what it is today. You didn't have the Drakes, the Weeknds, the Cuddies, the J. Coles, any of that have kind of borrowed a lot of the aesthetic from what Kanye did with 808s. Not to say that Kanye was the only one doing that, but just ushering it in, you know? So you have 2008, he releases this project in the wake of his mom dying that's supposed to be this passionate thing, and people are just stomping all over it. And then a few months later, the Taylor Swift incident at the VMAs happens, and Kanye is just kicked out of culture. he's not accepted, he's rejected, he's universally viewed as an asshole. And there was a lot on the line for him when he was in the process of recovering from that. In 2009 into 2010, once Good Friday started and he started seeing people come back and be interested in the music again and praising him and following up on everything that was happening each and every Friday up until the release of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and the acclaim and praise that followed with that. It's just the thing with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, while everybody was acclaiming and praising it, they were still saying Kanye was an asshole. It was kind of the start of the divide between saying like, oh, you know, I like the artist, but I like the art, but I don't like the artist. Which before, people had always said Kanye was an asshole, but he was kind of the lovable, like little arrogant brother asshole, not just fuck that dude, which is what the attitude became for so long. So in 2011, when he got the headlining gig at Bonnaroo at Coachella, just a few months after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy dropped, there was a lot on the table because this was going to be one of the first big public showings that Kanye was going to have since, the Glow in the Dark tour? Maybe he did a few shows in between that, but this was a really big stage, and the turnout and crowd attitude was a huge part of, I guess, just how Kanye would be feeling leading up to that. And this is the speech he gave during that 2011 performance. In the middle of Act 2, after Say You Will or before Say You Will, he said, "This is the most important show to me since my mom passed. And to be able to close the festival and see all of you who still love me, after everything I read on TV said the opposite. For us to still go platinum, for us to still have number ones, to have fans who was here since Through the Wire, that you ain't believe shit that they said, and I really appreciate you all tonight." And then he ends up closing with the final line, "There's many times I thought about not being here, and you all make it all worth it." Everything that I just described from 2007 heading up to 2011 almost seems, aside from the passing of Donda, the 808s, Taylor Swift, and the initial like dichotomy setting up of like art and artist seems almost like childish compared to what Kanye went through in 2018, and just the intensity of the vitriol he received from the public and the media. I mean, you look at just the landscape of culture and pop culture today compared to 2010, 2009. Social media wasn't the beast that it is today, and the media itself had a different kind of news cycle and a different kind of tone than what it has today. So it was way more intense in 2018 than it was in 2009. And Kanye, you were seeing hints of that already. In his Charlemagne interview, he talked about depression and suicidal thoughts over just that last stretch from the end of 2016 to the interview at the start of 2018. And then on Ye and Kids See Ghosts, Kanye and Cudi both deal a lot with this idea of like darker suicidal thoughts. It couldn't have been an easy year for Kanye West. Just all the burden that came up for him, and he put himself in some bad situations too with how he was saying things, the content not matching the intent, and then him having to go back and reframe, rephrase, and re-speak on things just to try to get across what he meant, because he was trying to speak off the cuff and it just wasn't flying in the same way in this day and age that things might have flown in previous times, right? All of that's on the table heading up to him once again getting this position in Coachella. And once again, everybody's saying that, you know, nobody loves him anymore. He's canceled. He's done. He's over. And he got some love at Camp Flog Gnaw, right? And that seemed emotional for him. But here he is returning to Coachella and has this huge event going on after this intense year, unlike anything that he's seen before, like greater than anything he's been through before. And to still have all these fans there, like singing along, being excited, being there in the moment, to have that validation, it's just hard not to think about him saying, like, there's many times I thought about not being here, and you all make it worth it. And just this being the most important show to him and what Coachella means to him, I think it just adds more to the idea that he wasn't just crying because, like, man, we're really doing this, or like, this music's beautiful, but there's just all this extra stuff going on, and what it means to be at Coachella doing what he did with the people that were there after everything that happened. It's just a reminder that whatever shit goes down in your life, give it some time and make positive steps each and every day, and things can get better, right? Things can be good. You can knot things up in your life. Like, you can complicate things, cross wires, piss people off, but like, if your intent is good, like, you'll get there. So if there's one major thing to take away from today and from all of that, I would say just give yourself that time. If you're ever feeling in that dark place, if you're ever feeling like you fucked things up, just be patient and keep making those good steps. And then you can be crying while making a YouTube video, or crying at Coachella, but hopefully crying some cathartic tears that are feeling good. So I think that does it for this video. Just a quick mention that I did write an article going over the Sunday service at Coachella for Forbes. If you want to check it out, that's very helpful for me. We also have our newest podcast episode dropping in 2 days, which is going to be the Fade episode. Oh, and then Water lyrics. I'm going to make another video on that. But Fade, we go over line by line everything from Fade, and we have some insights to what's going on in Fade that's going to blow your mind, especially Kanye's use of dueling samples and how he packages that with dueling features from Ty Dolla $ign and Post Malone, and how he's setting up this difference between the man who was and the man who will be on The Life of Pablo, which goes back to the album cover and the whole dichotomy of the album. So if you want to have your mind blown about what's going on in Fade, go ahead and listen to that episode. And then just other ways to support the channel if you're really liking what you're seeing. Subscribing, liking, commenting, all of those things tell YouTube that this is worthwhile content, and then they show it to more people, which is great. I'll be back with another video tomorrow to talk more Sunday service. Go ahead and drop any kind of comments or requests you have for what the video might be. I was thinking about doing something on the lyrics to Water as well, and we'll get to that. Until next time, stay wavy, keep it loopy, and we'll talk soon.